Hey everybody, this is Issy here from Big Brothers Big Sisters, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make mashed potatoes. So first what you're going to need is mashed potatoes, or a potato, milk, and butter. Let's get those now. Alright, so I got my milk, my butter, and a potato. Now you're going to want a potato for pretty much every person here, or every person eating. So I'm just going to make mashed potatoes for one person, so I'm only going to use one potato. If your family likes potatoes, maybe add in another potato, just an extra potato. And if they're big, maybe do one less. My potatoes are pretty small. They're like little single potatoes. So I'm only gonna be using one today. Let's go. All right, first step after washing your potato, pretty much just with warm water, and that's it. You're gonna rub it in your hands. Just make sure you get any of the dirt off. I like to keep the skin on for my mashed potatoes. I think it adds an element. If not, you can peel it with your knife. You know, just like that. You can cut it and then peel it. But for today, we're gonna keep the skin on. All right, so I'm gonna cut it into quarters, just like that. All right, we got these quarters. I'm gonna cut them even smaller, actually. So just like that, into eighths. So, all right, so we got some chopped up potatoes, and I'm gonna put them into my bowl here. Ooh. Booyah. Next, it's time for the microwave. All right, I like to nuke my potatoes before I boil them. We're gonna put them in the microwave for about 2 minutes. And just let them sit. All right, while your potatoes are in the microwave, what you're gonna do is you're gonna set your pan onto high on one burner. All right, just the first burner. Again, I'm having a small pan or a small pot because I'm only making one potato. The more potatoes you're gonna need, the bigger of a pot you're gonna need. And I'm gonna put that on high to let it heat up. All right, let's go. All right, next thing you're gonna do after this burner is pretty much warm, you're gonna fill this with some water. Pretty much, I like to fill it half full with water, and you're gonna plop your potatoes that are already warm in here and let them boil. So you're also gonna need a lid to put over this pot to help it boil faster. Let's get that now. All right, so my potatoes are just out of the microwave. My microwave smells like potatoes now. Careful grabbing them out, they might be hot. The bowl might be hot, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our pieces and we're just gonna dump them in our pot. All right, empty bowl, full pot. Lovely. Put that lid back on, and now we wait for the water to boil. And how you'll know that it's boiling is steam is gonna come out both sides. So now we just hang out on our phones, do whatever you want, wait for the water to boil. All right, one thing we can do while we're waiting for our water to boil is wash some dishes. So I'm gonna grab my bowl, my cutting board, and my knife that I used to cut up potatoes, and put them all in the sink and do some dishes. Look at that, we've got some of our potatoes boiling right now. Pretty cool. So basically you're gonna let this boil for a bit. Obviously take the lid off because you don't want it to overboil. Ooh, put it down to the side. I like to keep it on an angle because sometimes it can suction cup to the counter and nobody wants that, so we're not gonna do that. We let our potatoes boil just like this. Boom. There she is. It's my pride and joy right there. Basically let them boil for a bit, maybe about 2 minutes, and you want them soft enough that you can squish down with a fork without any trouble. And then you're gonna take the water out and put some milk in. So how to check if your potatoes are ready, I'm gonna remove them from the hot element and put it on a cooler element over here. All right, now I'm just gonna grab a fork, preferably a big one, that way, you know, more distance from you and the water. And I'm just gonna try and stab it with my fork. Oh yeah, she's pretty soft. See, as you can see, it goes very easily just right through the potato. That's great. It definitely means they're cooked, but you want them just a little bit softer, so that way you have some more. You don't have to work so hard when you're mashing them up. So I'm gonna keep it on for just a little bit longer, keep it boiling, and then we'll be back. And hopefully we'll be able to drain the potatoes, get the milk in there, and mash them up. All right, so my potatoes are soft enough that my fork goes right through it, no problem at all. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dump some of the water out into my sink. Make sure try to make sure there's nothing else in the sink. And I'm just gonna do a slow pour because I don't wanna grab my strainer out. So just very slowly pour the water out into the sink, just like that. Ooh, it's steamy now. Anyways, keep pouring it out. It's a little bit more tedious, but less dishes to wash, right? So basically I'm just tipping it back and forth to get potatoes to stay. And this is what it looks like without any water in it. All right, oop, dropping you guys. All right, back over on the element, I'm gonna turn it down to about 6, all right? And as you can see, there's still just a little bit of water in there. I like to keep some of my water just to add a little bit of softness more to the potatoes. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a bunch of butter. Let's go. So, I don't know if you guys watched my scrambled eggs video, but I really like butter. And today we're gonna be using a lot of it because who doesn't like scrambled eggs without butter? Let's go. So with the same fork that I used to poke the potatoes, I'm using pretty much a tablespoon of butter, which is just, you know, a bit of butter. Honestly, measuring is not something I do well. I don't like to do it, so I don't normally. I'm not a fan. So I'm gonna stir my potatoes into that butter, and now what I'm gonna do is lift it out of off the burner and push my fork into the side of my pan, squishing the potatoes. All right. Let's see if I can get you guys a better angle. All right, so grabbing my fork, here it is, and I'm just squishing the potatoes pretty much onto the side of the pan to mash them up. And that's because I think we have a potato masher, but again, more dishes to clean. Who wants that? Not me. If you do have a mashed potato masher at home, by all means use that. That's just like an up and down motion. You can stir it as well, but I find the fork works just fine. And you're kind of just gonna move it like the eggs around. You're gonna whisk it around once they're pretty much thoroughly squished against the sides. And if you're finding your potatoes aren't soft enough to do this yet, just leave them on the stove top. Put a little bit more water in, just a tiny bit, enough to coat the bottom of the pan in, or pot I should say, and let that boil. All right, so I've got a mashed potato consistency here. If you guys can see that. Now we're gonna add the milk in. Again, I don't like to measure, so, you know, 1, 2, 3, just to the bottom of the pan's covered pretty much. All right, and then you're gonna stir gently so that we're not spilling it all over the place. Stir it in. And that depends on how you like your mashed potatoes. You can add more milk or less milk. If you like them mushy and like super smooth, add a little bit more milk in there. If you like them a little less smooth, a little bit more chunky, that's some gross terminology I'm using, sorry guys. But it's mashed potatoes, what do you expect? If you like a little bit more chunky, add a little less milk. All right, I like them smooth, so I'm adding a little bit more extra milk to help soften these potatoes into a nice smooth consistency. Now what we're gonna do is add some salt and some more butter. All right, so let's add some salt in here. If you also have garlic powder or onion powder, I suggest using that. If you have garlic salt, no need to use actual table salt. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put it in your hand first. All right, make sure you have a decent amount. You don't want too much, because you can always add more later. And I like to put it into my hand first, that way you can visualize how much salt's going into your dish. And just taking it off. I'm even gonna turn my stovetop down about to 3, because on low now, because my potatoes are pretty warm and they're pretty much done being cooked. So now we're just adding some extra sauces and ingredients in. So if you have garlic salt, don't add table salt. But if you only have garlic powder, you're gonna want some salt there to add some flavor and really bring out the flavor of the potatoes and the garlic, pretty much.